Imagine you're so disciplined that studying, working on your business, or growing your YouTube channel was as easy and brainless as brushing your teeth. Well, I want that for you. So I've boiled down 8 years of studying the neuroscience and psychology of discipline into a very simple 4-step system. And by the way, I'm not gonna talk about motivation or hustle culture or grit or anything, because honestly, that stuff never worked for me. But first, let's define discipline, because if we don't know what we're trying to achieve, there's a 0% chance that we will. When we think about people who are extremely disciplined, we normally picture this alien, right? We think they're just built different. I had a friend in medical school who was a fucking machine. From day one of med school, he would wake up, he would go to the gym before class, and in addition to the 4 hours of lectures that we had every single day, he was able to keep up his streak of Anki flashcards and do 100 practice questions with the world every single day. He literally got his target step 1 score before we entered our dedicated study block. Needless to say, he easily got into orthopedic surgery at Harvard. And I remember asking him, I'm like, how do you do it, man? How do you wake up every day and just keep at this? And the answer he gave me was so simple. He said, I literally just do it. And that's something that I've noticed in people who are really disciplined. Disciplined people, they have one thing on their mind. And it doesn't matter how they feel, it doesn't matter what comes up, they are able to block out all of those distractions and make sure they get that thing done. Now, for the psychopaths out there, like my friend or like Alex Hormozzi's or the Gary V's, it's easy to just say, I'm just gonna do it and do it. But for the rest of us normal people, there are generally 4 things that pull our attention away from being able to execute on that one thing that we want to. And the presentation and the feeling that we experience when one of these blockers appears is a result of this guy right here. There's a structure in our brain called the amygdala that lights up whenever we experience stress, fear, anxiety, emotional pain at all. The first one is a lack of energy. If you are completely blasted, if you just worked a 24-hour shift and you pulled an all-nighter before that, it doesn't matter how badly you want to do the thing, your body will reject that possibility. So if you have a lack of energy, you cannot be disciplined. Number 2 is a lack of experience. If you don't know how to do the thing, if it's a skill issue, then you cannot take action on that one thing. Number 3 is a mismatch in effort. If the thing you need to do is way too hard for the skill level that you're currently at, for the experience level that you're currently at, it's going to be hard to be disciplined with it. And the last thing that can get in the way is your ego. Whatever you want to call it, your self-image, your pride. If your ego is telling you that you are too good for this task, you are not good enough for this task, that is also going to light up your amygdala and pull you away from being disciplined with a thing. These are the 4 things that stand in the way of you being disciplined. And it would make sense then that if we can eliminate the lack of energy, experience, effort, and ego, that we would be disciplined. However, I think there's a better way, because it's not black or white. So the question for all of these is not, do I have energy, yes or no? It's how much energy do I actually have? And so my point is, all 4 of these pillars are actually a slider. We can move it from the negative extreme to the most positive extreme. And if you can do that, it's actually a way to trick your brain into loving and craving being disciplined for the thing you're trying to do. The question is that possible? And the answer is yes, which is what we're gonna get into for the rest of this video. And so let's start with the one that everyone basically ignores, which is energy, because it's the cheapest and the simplest one to fix immediately to be more productive. So I started this YouTube channel when I was in medical school. It was the most exciting project of my entire life. But being a full-time medical student, you don't have that much time. I would spend basically my entire day at work, in the hospital, being on clinical rotations. Then I get home, maybe I'd go to the gym, I get a good workout in, I come back, I'd study for a couple hours, have dinner, and then before I went to sleep, I was like, no, I need to be disciplined and I need to work on YouTube. But by that time, it was like 11 p.m. already. I'd open up Final Cut Pro or open up my Notion to get my scripts open. In my head, I was being disciplined because I was showing up. But there's a big difference between showing up to be disciplined and actually taking the action on the things that you need to do, right? Sure, every single day I would show up at my computer to work on my YouTube stuff, but I would get no work done because I was so freaking tired. When you are exhausted, your brain literally cannot do deep work. And so I believe that everybody right now, you can move yourself from the left side of this slider to busting with energy if you do 3 simple things. Number 1, get more sleep. I know we all live in like doom scroll TikTok era where you're like scrolling on your phone all night. Sleep is probably the most important piece of this entire puzzle. You need to sleep. It's good for you. There are so many benefits to sleep. I don't even need to tell you how important sleep is, because you probably already know how important sleep is. Get more sleep. You will feel so much better to be disciplined for whatever you want to do. Number 2, this one sucks, and it was hard for me to do for a long time, is to just wake up earlier. You know, the problem with my discipline in med school was I was trying to be disciplined at 11 p.m. after a long day. All I had to do was move working on YouTube from 11 p.m. to the morning, right when I woke up to do it. And all of a sudden I had a lot more energy. And number 3 is some caffeine. I am now like a diehard coffee person, but I used to be a tea and mate person. And then I wake up an hour earlier with some coffee and then just get to work. And that like immediately improved my discipline and my productivity. Now, small caveat with this, because over the past few years, we've worked with, you know, thousands of learners and creators. And the most common question I get is like, what if I'm a night owl and not a morning person? And to that, like, sure, if you're a night owl and you know your body best and you know that you can get disciplined working late at night, then all the more power to you. But you have to be honest with yourself. If you are lacking discipline and you are trying to work at night because you think you're a night owl, just try what I just said. Just try moving it to the morning and see how it goes. The next problem is that it won't be like an overnight switch because our body runs in cycles. We have this thing called our circadian rhythm. And if you're not used to waking up earlier, then it's gonna take your body some time to adjust to waking up earlier. And so it generally takes like, 7 days or so to adjust your body to waking up earlier. But I promise you, if you are able to suffer for that week of waking up earlier every single day, you will feel so much more energized and look forward to waking up and actually doing the thing that you need to. So fixing your energy, incredibly important, but doesn't magically make you more consistent. And so let's talk about the next one here, which is experience. And experience, just like energy, is also a spectrum. Right? We have absolute beginners who have no clue how to do the thing, and then we have seasoned pros who know exactly what they're doing. And the paradox with experience is that in order to get experience, you have to do the thing more, but you can't do the thing more unless you know at least what to do. If you're in the job market right now, you kind of understand the paradox there, right? Like all the jobs they're hiring, but they want 3 to 5 years of experience, but you don't have any experience, but the only way to get experience to an entry-level job is to have 3 to 5 years of experience, which is kind of a paradox there. But anyways, there is a loophole that we can bypass to get that experience faster. And so the smartest way to move our slider from crap, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, to giving some structure so that you can take action is to get what I call a skill manual. Think about, I don't know, when you purchase some furniture. Maybe you went to IKEA and you bought this cabinet that you have to put together. When you open up that box, there's always an instruction manual. And that instruction manual will tell you step by step what are the things you need to do to assemble this piece of furniture. That is what you need to move from a low side of experience to a higher side of experience. You need to have instructions about what to do. And so the easiest and the first thing you should do is to just break up whatever this skill you're trying to do into smaller bite-sized pieces. It's a lot easier to run through a checklist, a step by step, than to just do the whole thing, especially if you don't know what it is, right? So for YouTube videos, what are all the steps you have to take to make a good YouTube video? Well, you have to find good ideas, then you have to create titles and thumbnails, then you should outline the video, then you should script the video, then you should film the video, then you should edit the video, then you should publish the video, right? Those are just 7 steps right there. And each of those steps, you can just keep breaking it down even further. Okay, what are all the things I have to do to find good ideas? How do I make a thumbnail? What are the components of a thumbnail? And the more you can just keep breaking down the skill that you're working in, it makes it easier to learn that skill in pieces. And then you can level up your experience a lot faster. If you just do this process every single day because you're being disciplined with what you're working on, your experience and your skill level will get better and better and better. And then the experience gap might just disappear completely, right? And if you want to eliminate experience from the equation or make experience fuel your discipline, then you want to close the gap between what you don't know and what you need to do as fast as possible. You need to learn as quickly as you can. Someone who's trying to figure it out on their own is going to learn much slower than somebody who has bought a course, or somebody who's working with a coach or a consultant or working with a mentor who can help show them the way and help them break down all these pieces into bite-sized chunks. So for example, free videos on YouTube. I think they're amazing, and that's why we make them, right? We want to help people understand and learn the skills on their own. But you're still going to move a lot slower with a free YouTube video than you would with like a structured course or with a coach who's actually like in your corner helping you learn the skill that you want to be more disciplined with. And that's also why for those who want to move faster and want to build profitable YouTube channels quicker, we do have a program where we work one-on-one directly with you to help you increase your skill level faster so that you can be more disciplined with making money. And so if you're interested in seeing if we would be a good fit to help you grow your YouTube channel faster, definitely check the links in the description below. We're opening up a few spots soon. And that's kind of a cheat code with experience, because when we're bad at something, we don't want to do it. Right? I remember the first time I went and played soccer, I was so bad at it. I think I actually like sprained my ankle because I stepped funny, and I hated it for a long time. But I kept playing it because my friends in college really liked playing soccer. And then slowly I got better at it. I started learning how to dribble the ball better. I started learning how to kick the ball properly. And then it got really, really fun. If you can enjoy the thing that you're disciplined for, then it's just gonna be that much easier to actually make progress on it. And that actually leads pretty nicely into the third pillar here, which is effort. And remember, It's also a sliding scale. Now, effort is actually the most interesting of these 4 categories because it is the only sliding scale where this sweet spot that you want to hit is not all the way on the right. There's actually a sweet spot that lies somewhat in the middle. And this all has to do with some incredible research that was done at UCLA by Robert Bjork called desired difficulties. There is an optimal level of challenge, an optimal level of effort that when we put into a task, it feels good. Just the right amount of stress with problem solving or with working on a skill will actually kickstart our brain into a state of flow. Probably heard of the flow state. It's when your body just seems like it magically is perfectly in line with what it wants to do. It seems like space and time disappear and you're just like totally immersed in the thing that you're doing. That is the optimal state of effort that you want to be in. Now, on 2 opposite extremes of effort, there is something that is too hard, and on the other side of effort, you have things that are too boring. The problem that most people experience when it comes to being disciplined with effort is that they are doing things in a way that's too boring. So effort and experience kind of work hand in hand, because if you get better at something, then generally it gets easier to do. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't ways that you can increase the level of effort that you're putting into your work so that it becomes more enjoyable. Let me demonstrate a realistic example here. I have been making YouTube videos on this channel for about 6 years now. I have made a lot of videos, and the more videos I make, the better I get at making videos, right? Now, if I was making the exact same video, the exact same structure, the exact same format, telling the exact same stories every single time, I would probably be pretty bored with it, right? I don't know if I would be able to do the same video 6 years every single week. There are ways that I am making my videos more challenging. As an example, I do educational content, and I've gotten pretty good at being able to explain concepts to a camera when I don't have anything. The way that I am increasing the level of effort with our videos is to have this chalkboard. That is a way that I'm stimulating my brain, making it a little bit more challenging so that it becomes more enjoyable for me to do. So the perfect sweet spot for effort is actually just a little bit outside of your comfort zone. You want to push your capabilities just a little bit. This is why, when athletes are training or you're trying to get better at a sport or something, you want to compete against someone who's a little bit better than you because they're going to push you to get better and better and better. If you play with someone who's too good, you're going to get smashed, you're going to get stomped on, you're going to hate it. And if you're too good and you're playing with someone who's an absolute beginner, that's not going to be fun for you at all either. So the best place to be is to actually be just outside of your comfort zone. And this concept applies to whatever it is that you're working on. Let's use an example that's pretty common in our community, which is studying, right? If you feel bored when you're studying or when you're learning something, then fundamentally you are learning wrong. Because like I said, our brain enjoys learning and our brain enjoys stressing itself. And so if the way that you study, for example, is reading your textbook or it's passively like listening to a lecture on double speed or something, you're just sitting there like mindlessly just like trying to absorb the information like a sponge, it's gonna be really boring and you're not gonna wanna come back and continue doing that. But if you're actively engaged in the learning process, if you're drawing tree notes or visually connecting your ideas together or going on these deep research bends or like, talking to people and solving problems together, that's gonna be a lot more enjoyable. It's gonna be a lot more fun for you, which is why I think project-based learning is some of the best ways to learn skills faster. So if you're locking these 3 in, your discipline is already gonna start feeling way less like punishment and much more like progress. But there's still one more component that can completely derail everything and prevent you from being disciplined. And that is your ego. Your ego is the self-image you have of yourself. And the ego is usually something that's built and constructed over our entire lifespan. A lot of the components that built up your ego are the things you've had when you were a kid, when you were growing up. What did people tell you? What was reinforced into your belief system, your mindset? That determines the way that you perceive yourself. I would say that ego is probably the most challenging and the most difficult one to just like get over. It's so difficult to just say like, oh, change your identity. Like just think about yourself differently. Like reframe your mindset. Mindset stuff just requires you to put in the freaking work and getting really deep into your insecurities, understanding why do you feel and why do you think about yourself the way that you do. This is what I mean. When I was first starting on YouTube and we were posting videos on this channel, we weren't getting very many views. And up until that point in my life, I have always been someone where things kind of came naturally for me. I was just always a good student. I was smart. I was a quote unquote smart kid, right? Like I didn't have to study very much in school and I could still pass my exams and do pretty well. I just naturally was like pretty good at music when I started playing it. I'm somewhat athletic, so I can pick up sports pretty easily. Like things just kind of came easy to me. But for some reason, when I started making YouTube videos and they weren't performing that well on YouTube, it really hurt. You know, like I don't like being bad at things because I've always been good at things. So like to protect my ego, I would procrastinate on making videos because I didn't want to put out stuff that wouldn't get any views. And it actually took a lot of self-work, a lot of deep conversations with my friends, with my brother, with myself really, to understand that the reason I wasn't disciplined was because I was afraid to fail. And I think the fear of failure is probably one of the things that will block your ability to stay disciplined more than anything else, because you always think, what if I'm not good enough? What if this isn't worth it? What if people will laugh at me? What if people will perceive me? And those thoughts that boil up in your head, they're the hardest ones to really dig to the root of why you feel that way. And so your ego is also on a spectrum. On one end, you can have a very unhealthy ego that pulls you back from, making the progress that you want to, or you can have a very healthy ego that enables you and makes you want to do the thing more. But I'm a very process-oriented person. I'm a very logical person. So I like tactics. I like understanding what can I actually do to move from an unhealthy ego to a more healthy ego. So the most effective strategy that I've adopted to work on a healthier ego is to remove expectations around me. Don't make it about me, but make it about the process. Make it about the act of doing the thing. Basically, you want to move the goal off of yourself and onto the craft, onto the skill, onto the thing that you're doing, right? So again, for YouTube videos, instead of showing up to make videos because I want to feel good about myself and feel validated and get a lot of views, I would focus on the goal of my discipline is just getting better at becoming a creator, right? Getting better at making videos, enjoying the process of making videos, enjoying the act of making videos. If you can remove any outcome from yourself and onto the process, that is the way that I found to improve my relationship to my ego. And when I started framing it that way, something kind of crazy happened. I stopped being so precious about every video. I started publishing faster. I started experimenting more because I wasn't asking if each video would validate, my presence on YouTube. I was just asking, can I get the next rep in? And how can I do this thing better? And the ironic part is, when you stop treating everything that you do life or death, like it's gonna kill your reputation or something like that, you just start to get a lot better faster, and people start to respect you a lot more because you're not trying to do things for you, you're trying to do things for the sake of doing things. The truth is, your ego is always gonna feel like it's on the line if you're doing the work that you actually care about. The goal is to not let it stop you. Discipline isn't about being fearless, it's about being scared, being afraid, being like, yeah, this might suck and people might laugh at me, but just doing it anyways. So if you lock in these 4 E's, I guarantee you that your brain is not going to ever struggle to be disciplined, but is going to love it. It is going to want to show up every single day, to build a project, to work on that channel, to build a business, whatever it is, and it's gonna feel easy and it's gonna feel enjoyable. And that's kind of the whole goal of all of this. At first, we need to rely on discipline, but once we get good enough, once we start seeing momentum, then discipline actually becomes motivation. It's a self-serving process. And so if you are right now looking for some project or something to be disciplined and build this skill with, I highly encourage you to think about building a YouTube channel for yourself. It's been like one of the most rewarding experiences in my life so far. And so if you wanna decrease the effort and the experience level to get that in place, then definitely check out the links in the description below. We have a bunch of free tools to help you learn how to YouTube, and definitely check out this video right here. It is our complete masterclass to learning the ropes of YouTube and then learning how to build something profitable behind it.